Hi, everyone. Welcome to this new grantee orientation webinar on legal assistance certification. Today's webinar is being presented by Marnie Shields, who is one of the Office on Violence Against Women attorney advisors. Here is Marnie.
It's Neelam. So I am first going to go over what is legal assistance so that you will know if you are providing it. And then I will talk about what is it that is addressed by the legal assistance certification. So first of all, legal assistance is assistance provided by or under direct supervision of a list of people that I'm going to talk about on the next slide to an adult, youth, or child victim of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking, and related to a matter that I'm going to get to also on a different slide. But so for starters, just a note that whether you can provide assistance to child victims or not is governed by the specific program. So even though the definition includes children, many programs only include ages 11 and older and not younger than them. So who are the people that are covered? Could be a licensed attorney, but then there's also a few other categories of people that can be providing the legal assistance. So for immigration, a Board of Immigration Appeals accredited representative. For veterans cases, a representative authorized by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And then for tribal courts, people who function as attorneys or lay advocates in tribal court. And then next is what type of cases. And it's a very wide range of things that might be covered. So basic civil cases like family law, housing, campus, other education, protection orders, other types of civil cases like that. Then in the criminal justice context, basically representing the victim to ensure that the victim's safety, privacy, and other interests as a victim are represented. So it could be things like representing the victim in a sentencing proceeding, helping the victim with a victim impact statement, those kinds of things. And then alternative dispute resolution, restorative practices, and other practices that are intended to promote victim safety and offender accountability, even if there's no court involvement. So for example, a restorative practice might not include court involvement. And then last, and this one is fairly new, with respect to a victim that is themselves justice involved, so they are the person who was convicted of a crime, but that crime arose out of their victimization. So for example, maybe there was a dual arrest situation, and even though this person was really the victim, they were convicted of domestic violence. So for those categories where the justice-involved victim was convicted, it can also include post-conviction relief proceedings in state, tribal, or territorial court. So this could be things like filing for expungement of the conviction. Then intake or referral by itself does not constitute legal assistance. So if all you're doing is screening the victim and then referring them elsewhere, then you are not providing legal assistance and you do not need to do the certification. But all the other stuff I just went over, those types of cases, those types of people doing the cases are legal assistance. And therefore, then you will need to follow this certification requirement. So first part of the certification, again, repeats who are these people that are providing the legal assistance. And it's the same people that I just went over with one addition, someone who's working under the direct supervision of a licensed attorney. So that could be something like a paralegal, it could be an intern, and then the same other categories in immigration, veterans, and tribal cases. So next is certain expertise that they have to have. So first, they have to have demonstrated expertise in providing legal assistance to victims of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking. If they don't have that, then they can partner with an entity or a person that has that demonstrated expertise. But in addition, they will need to complete training on domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, or sexual assault, and related legal issues, including training on evidence-based risk factors for domestic and dating violence homicide. So again, either the applicant themselves already has this expertise, or they partner with somebody who has the expertise and they complete training. And if they do need to complete the training, then the certification talks about who needs to be involved in that training. So they have to have input and collaboration with a tribal, state, territorial, local, or culturally specific domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking, victim service provider or coalition, and appropriate state, tribal, territorial, or local law enforcement officials. So for example, you might partner with a local domestic violence shelter and your local law enforcement, just as an example. And they would help develop and provide input on the training. And then similar to that, certain people need to be informed about, hey, we have this grant, we're providing legal assistance. And those are also state, local, or tribal domestic violence, dating violence, or sexual assault programs and coalitions, and appropriate state or local law enforcement officials. So as I said, you would send some kind of notice to let them know, hey, we got this grant, here's the services we're providing, here's how to refer victims for our services, that kind of thing. And then last is about mediation. And this one is the trickiest one I have found. So you have to not have policies that require mediation or counseling involving offenders and victims physically together in cases of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or child sexual abuse. Where this gets tricky is sometimes people complain, well, our state has a law that mediation is required in custody cases. Does that violate the certification? And the answer is no, it does not, because then it's not your organizational policy requiring mediation, it is your state child custody law. And even if you have some kind of mediation requirement, but the victim and offender are separated, you would still not be in violation of the certification, because the certification is that your organizational policies cannot require mediation or counseling where the victim and offender is physically together. Now, because this is specific for the Justice for Families Grant Program, you also have one more certification requirement related to legal assistance. And so for you, any person providing legal assistance through this grant program, including people that already have the expertise discussed previously, needs to complete a training on domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking, including child sexual abuse and related issues. If you have any questions on this certification requirement, feel free to contact your grant manager, or you can contact me directly at the email listed on this slide. Thank you very much, and I hope this was helpful.